Okay. We're going to have student presentations next, and does anyone not know what an Ignite session is? Everyone knows? Okay. Well, okay. It's one of the more fun things we do. The students will have 3 minutes to present, and they will be presenting on 3 different topics, or in 3 different areas: digital libraries, archival representation, and database modeling. They will introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their topics. But they really, literally have 3 minutes, and I will be giving them the 2.5-minute mark and cutting them off at 3 minutes. And that's why it gets to be a whole lot of fun. They know who they are, they know the order in which they're presenting, so I'm just going to say, let's get to it. Oh.
All right, hi, I'm Tony, and this presentation is about the terribly organized information at the Nassau County Photo Archive Center and choosing a content management system that best suits the needs of both the center and its users. So for a little bit of background, the center opened up in a closet in 2009 at the old Bethpage Village Restoration, one of the county-owned museums. They're currently working to digitize their entire collection of historical photographs of Long Island, dated between about 1870 through the 1980s, and there's roughly 200,000 of these pictures. The problem faced here is their unstructured information coupled with their poor retrieval tools that results in terrible access to this collection. Cataloging projects here have changed hands, stopped and started multiple times since the county began acquiring their photographs, and project managers have been left to organize this information however they want. So as a result, the catalog is not uniformly structured at all. As an example, from one set of Excel spreadsheets, the information collected tells the user nothing about what the photo is actually a picture of, and it'll say see above for a good 6 pages. This unstructured information and its poor retrieval tools make it impossible to search the entire collection from one location. You have to decipher information from the multiple spreadsheets, a PDF portfolio, and half the time you end up going back through the archival boxes of original prints. This time-consuming and inefficient process makes it difficult to fill client orders. And let's complicate things, because recently county officials decided to raise the awareness of this collection by envisioning the creation of a website, believing the web presence will increase the amount of photo orders, ultimately increasing the revenue stream generated by the center. But how can they possibly expect to handle an influx of client requests when the collection is so poorly organized? A solution is a content management system, preferably one that comes with an online searchable gallery, and better yet, let's find it for free. A solution is Collective Access, a free, open-source content management system that has a back-end relational database and a front-end web publishing platform to view the collections online. Collective Access is a highly customizable tool that meets the needs of this particular collection. For example, this georeferencing tool, which allows images to be tagged on a map according to location, is extremely useful and would streamline client searches because most people are coming into this center looking for photographs from a specific community. Another great feature is the data importing tool, which would make the transfer of existing data from its multiple locations so much easier, eliminating the time wasted on a manual transfer of data into the system. Collective Access also comes with pre-configured archival standards, and catalogers can choose whatever metadata elements they want to use from this drag and drop menu. This tool would allow the center to utilize existing records that were written in Dublin Core. Essentially, Collective Access creates structured information and works as a useful retrieval tool so that the collection is more easily accessible, vastly improving the usefulness of this collection to Nassau County. And as the added bonus, utilizing the online gallery platform as a component of this system would increase collection exposure by establishing a web presence, thus raising awareness to attract potential new users, meaning more money generated by the center. These increased photo orders plus more money will equal okay, fine. Can I finish? Okay, fine. These increased photo orders will mean more money, which means happy government officials, proving the worthiness of an archive center to this local government, where they hope that they'll take note of the fact that all of this improvement could be made using a free resource.
Hold the questions till the end. There are no pencils, it will really help.
Good morning. I'm Sean. This is my presentation for the 6th DLIS Symposium to the Community and Beyond. My presentation is on the New York Police Department Video Production Unit database. This presentation is part of LIS 248, Database Modeling and Design. The New York Police Department Video Production Unit is in need of a workable, searchable database for its reel, VHS, and DVD collections that also allows the unit to keep track of physical items within its location. This is an example of their 16mm film collection, which is approximately 320 items. And then this is an example of their VHS collection, which is constantly in flux. So the Video Production Unit is a department within the NYPD that creates, stores, and promotes videos related to the New York Police Department and related law enforcement organizations. There is no official history to the Video Production Unit, but according to Moskowitz, a former intern of the Video Production Unit and alum of Tisch School of the Arts, the Video Production Unit of the New York Police Department was established in the late 1960s or early 1970s. The Video Production Unit was organized to produce in-house training films, which were then broadcast to individual precincts as well as police academy. And prior to the creation of the Video Production Unit, various production companies, including NYC TV Film, were often commissioned to produce instructional films. And this has been corroborated by members of the department when I asked about it. Currently, the NYPD Video Production Unit does not have a searchable database. If someone were conducting research for a particular topic, decade, person, etc., and in need of video records, one could not input search criteria into a database to find exactly what one needs. Additionally, items in the physical collection are not inventoried in such a way that the original master copies may be accounted for. I propose to develop a database that collects searchable information on the Video Production Unit's collections, including the location of the irreplaceable master copies. The benefits would be that the creation of a workable database would allow the New York Police Department to search for items in its video collection and would allow the department to keep track of its artifacts. Once completed, the database may be used to populate an online catalog for use by the New York Police Department and eventually the public. Such a database would allow users to search for particular items within the digital and physical collections by key terms and descriptions, and would inform both the department and its users where each item may be found. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Willert, and the proposal I'm working on for the database modeling and design class is an archival database management system for a mid-sized urban Jesuit high school. So a little bit of background on the client in this case. The school was established in 1847, though the archives of the school were not established until 1997, and that was done through the gift from a benefactor. The student body, which is all male, and is about 1,100 students, is geographically diverse. So it comes from the 5 boroughs mostly, but there are also some students from Westchester, Nassau counties, and New Jersey. A very traditional sort of college preparatory course of studies, especially when it's compared to other Jesuit high schools in the country. There's an active campus ministry and Christian service program, and the school also is sort of known, it used to have a compulsory military program that was made voluntary during the Vietnam War. So there's the collection for the school has materials that refer to a lot of these things. It's a pre-war, pre-Civil War school, so there are some materials that date back to that time. The school also has custodial responsibility for the academic records of another school that closed in the early 70s. And there are some materials as well from the parish that is adjacent to the school. And so the materials are divided in currently 11 record groups, sort of about publications from the school, liturgical materials from the school, academic records, personal correspondence of past teachers and administrators, and some other materials as well. The current problem is that there really is no database for the archival materials. And so because there's a database, there is no catalog for different community constituents to search through. There's no public presence for the archive at all. There's no web page for the school's archives, and the archivist is part-time. She's there 1 day a week for a limited number of hours. And so there's real concern about access restrictions to the archives for the different groups in the community. And so if you ask most teachers or students there, they will not know that an archive even exists for the school. So they can't use it for research, and really wouldn't even be able to tell you where it exists within the school building. So my proposal would be a database to maximize use of the archives for the purpose of research. It would help streamline the work of the archivist and give us a platform to have a web presence and eventually digitize items and online collections of some of the materials. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Allie Mercado. I'm in my third semester of the graduate program here, and I'm expected to graduate this spring. The title of my project is the creation of an event management database for an LGBT organization. I just wanted to clarify before I begin that this is not an actual organization. We had the option to use a real or a hypothetical organization for the assignment, so I chose to create one. Just to clarify, because some of my peers are using real organizations. So this hypothetical client was established in January of 2005. It initially focused on advocating for the legal rights of gay men, but grew to represent all LGBT people. It's located in Brooklyn, New York, where it has a few small offices and an event space that holds about 100 people. And it's run by a president and a board of directors. And each member of the board is assigned to run an event, and if they feel it's necessary, they can assign a team of volunteers to help them. I just wanted to give you an idea of the types of events that this database will help manage, anything from support groups, parades, galas, and fundraisers. So these events can range in attendance from 30 people to 300 and beyond. The organization does co-sponsor events, and they are primarily in the tri-state area. So the organization currently manages the events using Google Docs and Google Calendar. In Google Docs spreadsheets, they manage the attendance and budget. In Google Docs text documents, there's a one-page snapshot of each event, and they use Google Calendar to manage the time, date, and location of each event. So this information is clearly scattered, and there's poor information integrity. Poor information integrity meaning that anyone who's familiar with Google Docs knows that you can invite other people to help you edit that doc, and that means the documents could be prone to unauthorized edits. So overall, it's inefficient for event management, inefficient for information retrieval that you have your one event, and you need to go to 3 different areas to find the information for that event, and again, poor information integrity. So the proposed solution is an open office database. This software is free and it's customizable for the client. Overall, the information will be centralized in one location so that when a board member is coordinating an event, they can go to one area to do all their management needs. It would be more efficient for event management and efficient for information retrieval and access. And then overall, which is a major concern, is that the information would be secure in this database, and that as the organization grows and attendance gets higher and there may be fees related to events, only attendees that are registered and have paid for the event will be there. Thank you.
Sorry, I had it pulled up before, but I guess it got closed out. Okay, so my name is Melissa Henderson, and I am currently in my last semester of the DLIS program. As I was working on my ePortfolio, I noticed how many of the ALA core competencies are reflected in a project that I'm currently working on. And I thought this would just be a great opportunity to show how the skills we learn in all of our classes can be combined to culminate in one final project. So for LIS 230, Intro to Digital Libraries, we are currently creating a digital library of our own. In LIS 238, Web Design, we learned how to create an effective and user-friendly website. So for every organization and library, there must be a clear reason for existing, or what would be the purpose of it. So I developed a mission statement to clearly state my goals and purpose. In LIS 211, Collection Development, we learned how to create an effective mission statement. Utilizing this past skill, I was able to create one for my digital library, which basically shows my prospective users what I want to focus on, what my goals are. We also learned in 211 how to outline our collection development policy. So in this CD policy, I once again state my prospective users. I tell what the collection will focus on, the scope, and finally where my materials will come from. For each object I included in my digital library, I assign metadata. And we learn this skill in the introduction classes like LIS 203 and 204. As you could see, I use Dublin Core. While picking your objects, it's important to keep your CD policy in mind. During LIS 271 Museum Informatics, as well as our ASL projects, we had to learn about copyright law. So for all of the objects not covered under the Fair Use Clause, I had to actually get permission to use the objects. Eventually, I'd like to add a Pathfinder to my digital library, which we learned how to create one in LIS 205. So basically, what I've kind of demonstrated through this is that all of the things that we learn can be combined to bring together things full circle for one final project. So, and that's it.
I have a question for Tony. So, can you explain to me a little bit about the business model where you want the government to get money by putting people in business online?
It's the county came to us and wanted a meeting, so I sat in on it, and they said they wanted to make, you know, they value the historic relevance and what have you of these photographs, and since you cost money to get fill client orders, just a tiny bit anyway, but they wanted to, you know, increase and bring in more people, make the people more aware of with this collection. And what they were first talking about when they brought this idea was envisioning pretty much like a store that looked like Amazon or eBay. And I was like, no, that's not how this works. You'll still be able to get your money, but what's more important is the exposure. So if you can give me something with the content management system, that will allow me to have this online viewable gallery that at least makes people well aware of the collection, so that if they want anything from it, then they can come contact us.
From experience working with some of these projects, I find that there's a lot of use of digital images, and they tend to work with whatever. It's like the old days when people would use the abstract and they couldn't get the article. So, for example, K-12 are the big users of these kind of digital image archives. You give them that much of an image, while it may not be photo quality or video quality, they're happy. I'm just wondering if they thought about exposure may not need to be purchased.
Well, I mean, that's not what they're looking at. They're kind of like turning a blind eye to that part while I'm like, hey, by the way. But a very large portion of the people that come in looking for this collection are using it because they're publishing books through Arcadia Publishing, and, they need the high quality and a bunch of pictures, and that's what most of our sales, I guess you would call it, come from. Yep.
On a similar note, there's a lot of pressure in archives and digital collections these days to monetize their collections. And a prime example is the New York Botanical Garden Library and Archives. They have been under a lot of pressure, and they have successfully used digital images from their own archives to sell in their bookstore. So there's a lot of pressure for archives to create monetary gain for their collections. So that's all I want to say. So that's an example of the pressure that archives face to monetize their collection.
My question is for Sean. Could you just tell me a little bit about who actually uses that collection? And is there a librarian or an archivist in charge of it? Or is it a police officer or a civilian? Thank you.
Well, currently the collection is used primarily by the NYPD and any type of law enforcement organization. So that might include lawyers or other government officials. They want to have it eventually digitized completely so it can be accessible online to first the NYPD and then the public. A major problem is that there hasn't been an archivist, and there is one currently almost hired, and that's a major problem because, as you saw in those pictures, there are hundreds of items in the real collection and even more items in the VHS collection. So they just amassed lots and lots of materials that had no metadata or limited metadata. So I worked with them during the summer, and I'm still working with them just to provide some metadata, descriptive metadata, so when an archivist comes in and things are digitized, it can all be transferred to some type of database. But with that, what database they do have is an Excel sheet, which is so much better than their older model, which was if someone came in and they needed something, they asked, and then the department had to say, okay, you want something on like Stop and Frisk. Okay, what videos do we have on Stop and Frisk? And they'd have to sit down and talk about it and then find stuff. There was no like, okay, let's go plug this in somewhere. But now with Excel, they kind of have something.
Well, this is kind of corollary, but obviously there's been a lot of footage of police officers by civilians. That's one. I'm wondering if there's been any attempt to collect that material. And then I also heard that officers might end up being required to wear cameras, and that would create a whole bunch more of moving image related to police activity. So, yeah, I'm wondering if you came across any info on those subjects.
With videos that currently exist, nothing is documented because that's outside of the department. The videos that the department does have are produced by the video production unit or government agencies. So those aren't there yet. With the body cams that the police officers will be handling, I'm not sure who's going to have access to that. One of the major problems that the NYPD would face is that there would be hundreds and hundreds of hours of video files that they would need to document somehow, and I don't even know if the department if the video production unit will be working with that.
Any others? Well, I say thank you to our excellent students.